Hola, clase. All right, so this week we are going to really streamline the information that you guys need to know before you either go into high school next year. You'll need to know this for high school Spanish, or if you are going to take Spanish 3 next year. And either way, these are just kind of the basic things that you need to know to just be successful in Spanish. At a certain point, you can know a lot of words in Spanish, but if you don't remember how to conjugate verbs, that's really going to inhibit how you can speak. So, if you guys remember, a couple weeks ago before the school closure, we learned how to conjugate verbs that end with AR in Spanish. So that's like the verb hablar, to speak, or estudiar, to study. So you change that verb, that basic verb. So for example, the verb hablar, to speak, that's called an infinitive verb. That means it's not really talking about anyone speaking yet. So if you want to say like I speak, or he speaks, or we speak, you have to conjugate it and you apply rules. So we did a note card on this. You guys may or may not remember it. It's been a while. So I'm going to review that, and then I'm going to go over a couple of new verb conjugation rules. Whoops. Okay. All right, guys. So if you remember, if you're talking about yourself, the yo form, the rule is to drop the AR and add an O. So hablar would become hablo. Drop that AR at the end, add an O. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, because it's a verb, it's not a noun, it's not a describing word. Whenever you're talking about yourself and you're saying I speak, you have that ending as an O. Hablo. Hablo español. Hablo inglés. Okay? All right, next is tú. Tú is you. It's the informal you. So you, your friend. So that rule is drop the R, add an S. So down here, if we drop the R and add an S, we would have hablas, you speak. Okay? The next one, shares, él, ella, and usted. So if we were saying he speaks, or she speaks, or usted, that's the formal you speak, the rule is just to drop the R. So it's habla. Okay, nosotros means we, so if you want to say we speak, you drop the R, add MOS, it becomes hablamos. Okay, if you were in Spain and you want to say you all or you guys speak, okay, this one's a little different. You drop the AR and then you add that A back in with an accent and then IS, so it becomes habláis. And the last form, ellos, ellas, ustedes, they, the girls, or you all in the Americas, you drop the R and you add an N, hablan. So it can mean they speak or you all speak. So this might kind of sound familiar to you guys. You guys kind of might remember that. We've gone over that before. But today we are going to look at verbs that end with ER and IR. So we're going to start with ER verbs. So in Spanish, all verbs, every single verb in the Spanish language is either going to end with an AR, an ER, or an IR. And that's it. There's only those 3 categories. Okay, so we're going to learn some ER and IR verbs today. So ER conjugation rules are almost identical to AR, okay? The thing is you just change that. So instead of dropping the AR and adding an O, you just drop the ER and you add an O. Okay, same thing for the to form. Drop the R, add an S. Okay, LA usted, drop the R. Drop the R, add mos. Oops, this one I forgot to finish. So this one's like that. Okay, so vosotros is drop the ER, add EIS instead of AIS, like AR verbs, and then drop the R, add an N. So as you guys can see, these rules are almost the same as AR rules. The only thing is that you just replace the E. So this is the verb to eat, comer, okay? So if I want to say I eat, okay, I'd say como hamburguesas. I eat hamburgers, okay? Comes, you eat. If I want to say he eats or she eats or you formal eat, I just drop the R, come. Okay, if we want to say we eat, comemos, drop the R, add mos. If I was in Spain and I wanted to say you guys eat or y'all eat, coméis. And then the last form, ellos, ellas, ustedes, if I want to say they eat or y'all eat in the Americas, drop the R, add an N, comen. Okay, so all you have to do is apply these rules, and AR and ER are just basically the same thing, okay? So they're really easy to get. All right, and then we have IR verbs. Now, IR verbs are a little bit different. They have a little variation. It's kind of like a mix between an ER and an AR verb, okay? So the yo form is still pretty much the same. It still ends with O. Drop the IR, add an O, okay? Now, when we get to the to form, instead of dropping the R and adding an S, you drop the IR and you add an ES. So when you conjugate an IR verb, it's actually going to kind of look like an ER verb, okay? With the LA usted rule, you drop the IR and you just add an E. Nosotros doesn't change either, just drop the R, add mos, okay? Vosotros, drop the IR, add an IS, I with an accent. And then the ellos, ellas, ustedes, you drop an IR and you add an EN. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you conjugate it. So we have escribir, the verb to write. Okay, so if I want to say I write, so the yo form, I drop the IR and I add an O, escribo. Okay, if I want to say you write, now I'm not going to drop the R and add an S, I'm going to drop the IR and add an ES. So it becomes escribes. Okay. For the LA usted, instead of just dropping the R, I'm going to drop the IR, and in its place, I'm going to add an E. Escribe kind of looks like e-scribe. Escribe. Okay, nosotros is the same. I'm going to actually keep the I here. You can see that. Escribimos, we write. Okay, vosotros, escribís, y'all write in Spain. And if I want to say they write, I drop the IR and I add an EN. Escriben. Okay? All right, so here are some of the most common ER and IR verbs, and I just give you a couple. And you can see some of these have to do with like the foods and the drinks that we've been studying, and that's coming up because we're going to be doing our menu project. That's our final project in Spanish. So I want to make sure you guys know these. So these are some kind of common ER verbs. So we have comer, which I showed you, meant to eat, and then beber, to drink. Aprender, to learn. Leer, I know that one looks weird. It looks like leer, but it's leer. You kind of pronounce both E's. Comprender, you probably heard that before if someone says comprende. Okay, it means to understand. It just kind of got moved under there. Let me see if I can do that. There we go. Okay, and then the verb to see is ver. Now that's different than mirar, which means to watch, like mirar televisión. This one means to see, ver. Okay? All right, now over here we have common IR verbs. So we have escribir, to write. I showed you that one. This one's really obvious. Recibir, to receive. Decidir, to decide. They're pretty, like you can just tell by looking at them. And then abrir, to open. Okay, so let's see if we can do some conjugation. So let's start with an ER verb. So let's start with the verb beber because it's a funny one when you conjugate it. Okay, so I want you to conjugate beber, beber in the nosotros form. So let's go back to the ER rules. So what's the rule for the nosotros? Drop the R, add MOS. Okay, let's see if we can do that. So beber in the nosotros form. What's it going to be? Bebemos. There you go. Let's stretch that out a little bit. Okay, bebemos. Good. Okay, let's do an IR verb. Let's do decidir, to decide. Oops. Okay, so decidir. Let's put decidir in the to form. So what's decidir in the to form? Let's look back at our verb chart. What's the rule for the to form? Okay, got it? All right, what's decidir in the to form? Decidir in the to form, decides. Okay, let's do two more. Let's do the verb leer, because this one always kind of throws people off. So leer is the verb to read. So I want to put leer in the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. I want to say like they read. Okay, so it's an ER verb, so I got to go back to my ER rules. And I want to do it in the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. I want to say they read. So what's the rule? Got it in your head? Okay, all right, what's it going to be if you want to say they read? Leen, good. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do the verb abrir, and I want to put it in Let's do the he or she form on this. So I want to say he opens or she opens. Okay, so it's an IR verb. So I want to go to my rules for IR. Okay, and I want to do the he or she rule. So what is it? Okay, find the right rule if you were talking about he or she. Got that rule in your head? Okay, conjugate abrir for he or she. Abre. There you go. Drop the IR, add an E. Okay, guys. So I put some of these on your vocab sheet this week. Make sure you fill that out. Make sure you're studying those. Next week, we're going to start our menu project, and that is our final project for Spanish. So you guys will get kind of a couple weeks to work on that, and there's kind of a couple parts. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you soon. Hasta luego.